Okay, let's see how we can take measurements in InDesign and how we can use the measuring tool. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to place, so I'll go to File, drop down to Place, okay? And then what I'm going to do is navigate my way to that layout that is part of that's in the folder that says, real estate to students. And then I'll say, okay. And then I'm going to just drop it on the page. All right, so it just drops right on the page. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to take the measurements of the margins. If I were to just bring it in at the actual size, which is what I did, and the margins that are already there, the default margins, don't line up with the margins that we see, in the artwork, in the layout itself. So there's something that's called the measurement tool, and you can find that. Actually, you can find it right underneath the eyedropper tool. In other words, when you go to the eyedropper tool, you click, and then you can go to the measurement tool. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. So let's say, for example, I want to take a measurement from the top of the page to where the header area is. So I'll just click here, put my finger on the Shift key, so I go straight down, and I come up with about a pike and a half, 1p6. And then I'm going to come in from the side again. It's about maybe, again, 1p6. Okay, just rounding it off. Zoom out, and I'll come down here to the bottom. Let me zoom in so you can see this. And then I'll do the same thing. Keep my finger on the Shift key, measure it down. And it's about, again, about 1p6. I'm just rounding it off, 1p6. All right, so that's my side, top, and bottom. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to Layout, drop down to Margins and Columns, and then I'm going to keep this link because it's going to be all four sides, and I'll type in 1p6. Now, as you can see, when I type in that 1p6 measure, let me get that right again. Let me see, type in 1p6, lock it, okay. And as you can see, it went all the way around 1p6. But now, if I'm thinking maybe I want to put the side margins in a little bit more, so it actually aligns where the pictures are, where the where the tables are. So I'm going to take another measurement on the sides. So let me zoom in, okay, and then I'm going to, again, using the measurement tool, keep my finger on the Shift key, I'm going to measure in, and it comes into about maybe, I'm going to just round it off to about maybe 2p7. Yeah, about 2p7. All right, so I'll zoom out. So now what I'll do is I'll go up to Margins, go over here, and now I'm going to click off on this link. So I'm just going to have that measurement 2p7 on the outside and the inside. 2p7. All right. And now you can see that at least the major part of the layout, the only part of the layout that doesn't align with the margin is the header. All right. But we know that if we just drop it in at the same size, it should fit. But now we can see that we can line things up across the bottom and across the side with about 3/4 of this layout. The side margins will match up, the bottom margins will match up, and then we can put our contents within those parameters on the sides and bottom. Okay, next up, much like most of the Adobe applications, you're going to find that you have layers. So let's see how we can use layers in InDesign. So now we have this graphic here on this bottom layer, and let's give it a name. We'll just call it background. All right. Now, we don't want the background to move. So again, much like you can do with other Adobe applications, you're going to lock it. But before we lock it, let's tap on it and let's bring the opacity back. I'm going to bring it back to about maybe 30%. So it's kind of light. And now I'm going to lock it. Now I'm going to add another layer, and I'm going to call that Live. because basically that's going to be where I'm going to put all of the live content. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. The first thing I am going to do is start to frame this out. So I know that there's a picture here. So the type of frame that I'm going to put here is a picture frame. And that's the one, that's the rectangle frame tool. That's with the X in it. And let's say I start here, and I drag it down. And because I have my margin in place, I could just snap it to that margin right there, and I have my frame. Now, I can do this with all of the other ones as well. But for this exercise, I'm just going to show you this main one because I'm going to show you how to position the artwork within that frame. Okay, when scaling art, it can be a little tricky, but it really is not that hard. So the first thing is we have a frame. In other words, we're going to put the artwork in the frame. Now, when you're scaling images within a frame, all right, you need to have at least 3 reference points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tree right here as one reference point. Then I'm going to use this ledge, if you will, right here as another reference point. And then I'm going to use the side of this garage as a reference point. So what I'm going to do is, from the top, I'm going to pull down a guide that's going to align with this ledge, just like roof ledge right here. Then I'm going to pull in a guide that's going to align with the outside of this tree right here. And then I'm going to bring in another guide that's going to align with the corner of where this garage is. So that's why I have my 3 reference points. So now I'm going to click on the frame, all right, because I'm going to put the picture inside the frame. So I'll go File, Place, all right, and then you're going to navigate your way. I know it's the 2815. That's the larger one. I'll say Open. All right, and it puts it right there inside of this frame. Now, again, it may seem a little tricky, all right, but it really is not that bad. So the first thing I want to do, using the direct selection tool, because remember, the selection tool will move the object. The direct selection tool will move around the contents within the object or the frame. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to move it over so that I can align the tree right there, and then I'm going to align the edge or the ledge of that rooftop. So I have that right here aligned, and I have the tree aligned. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, using the scale tool, which is right underneath this little scissor tool, click on that, and I'm going to put the reference point where those 2 guides come together. So everything is going to scale from this point right here, because the objective is to get this corner to go over here. So I put my reference point here, I go over to the upper right hand corner, put my finger on the shift key because it's going to constrain the proportions, and then I'm going to start to scale it up. So that I try to scale up as close as I can to where that corner is right there, and I'm going to release it. So now what you can see is, here is the edge, and I know it's kind of crumbly, but here is the edge of the tree, here is the ledge of the rooftop, and here is the corner of that garage area. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come out of that. I will lose the guidelines because I don't need them anymore. And then you can see how you can scale your imagery within the frame.